also there's been lead poisoning, like if an animal in the Andes is shot with lead bullets, or if a carcass has been poisoned with lead or anything like that. Condors will consume it, it will build up in their systems and kill them. And of course that's causing even more issues, because quite often condors will bring food back to their nest for their chicks, and of course that will quite often destroy 2 generations of condor like that. Of course, when my mum was little, these birds were actually on the verge of extinction, but thanks to extensive conservation efforts, condors have managed to rise in population, to be less than what they were, or to be more than what they were about 40 odd years ago. But even so, these are still endangered, and if these animals disappear, then it's going to be bad news for not only the wildlife they share the Andes with, but also for us. And here is their range. Now, the next predator I'm going to show you is my second favourite snake. It is the Yellow-Tailed Cribo. Now, the Yellow-Tailed Cribo is a very, very big snake. In fact, it could probably grow to be about 4 or 5 metres in length. It has this incredibly gorgeous golden yellow tail, hence the name, but also when you're handling a Yellow-Tailed Cribo, it's almost like handling a snake made of silk, because you just can't grip him. And of course, the Yellow-Tailed Cribo is of no danger to humans, but to any other animal living in South America, it is the snake equivalent of a Terminator. And this snake feeds on all kinds of things. It will feed on lizards, frogs, birds, small mammals, as well as hard-shelled tortoises, and even incredibly other snakes, which can include some of the most dangerous and venomous snakes found in Latin America. That can be the bushmaster, the fer-de-lance, the coral snake, and even the boa constrictor and the anaconda fall prey to this snake. And how it kills them is not through constriction or venom, it's purely through the most powerful bite of any snake. In fact, the jaw muscles of this snake are said to be the largest of any snake. So what it does is it will grab a hold of prey, and then it will thrash around, whacking it against nearby tree trunks, roots and rocks, until it either knocks it senseless or batters it to death. And it then swallows prey whole and quite often alive. And of course, I've never seen a Yellow-Tailed Cribo before, but I would love to see one of these snakes, because they are of no danger to us as humans, but for any other animal living in South America's rainforests that gets in its path, it is basically the snake equivalent of a Terminator. And here is their range. Now, the next predators I'm going to show you are also probably the most toxic creatures on the planet, but they are not snakes, or spiders, or scorpions, or even ants. In fact, they're frogs. These are poison dart frogs. Poison dart frogs are absolutely tiny. In fact, they can probably only be about the length of the end of my thumb. Of course, they come in all different colours, but those colours, they may look beautiful, but they act as a warning to show that they're dangerous. Probably my favourite out of these is the blue poison dart frog, and these animals have probably the strongest natural poisons in their bodies of any other animal. And how they do it is one of the great miracles of nature. In fact, the poisons all start out in the leaves of ants. Ants eat the leaves, the frogs eat the ants, and then they almost sweat the poison out on their skins. And in fact, Colombian tribesmen, when they go hunting, they rub their blowpipe darts on the backs of the frogs, and any animal that's hit with the poison dart will be dead in probably about a minute. In fact, there's actually one species of poison dart frog. It's about the same size as the red and blue poison dart frog. It's found in Colombia. It's this one, the golden poison dart frog, and it has enough poison in its body to kill 10 fully grown men. And of course, these frogs are always out in the daytime, because in every part of South America, almost every frog is out at night. But these frogs are always out during the day, because they know that these bright colours are going to show other predators that they're dangerous. And these animals are literal living chemical warfare factories. In fact, here are the different species of poison dart frogs. There's the reticulated, the lemans, the yellow and black, the manu, the blue, the golden, the red-headed, the harlequin, the phantasmal, the three-striped, the red-backed, the vicernets, the grandia, the granular, the strawberry, the vicernets, and of course the dying. All of these animals have enough poison in their bodies to kill at least more than 10 fully grown men. And of course, here is their range. Now, the final predator is one of the strangest of dogs in the world. It is the maned wolf. Now, this is a very unusual member of the dog family. And it's found in South America along the grasslands, forests and mountains of South America. And one reason this is such a very strange animal is mainly down to its diet, because this is an animal that feeds almost entirely on fruit. In fact, about 50 to 65% of a maned wolf's diet is made up of fruit. But they also will feed on small mammals like rodents, but they will also eat bird or reptile eggs. Of course, but probably the most bizarre thing about them is that while most wolves are pack animals, the maned wolf is not. They live alone and will defend a territory of up to 100 square miles. And how they go, in fact, they are one of the oddest looking animals on the planet. I mean, it's almost like someone's taken a red fox and just stretched it. But of course, that dark area of fur around the nape of the neck and the shoulders, that's how they got their name, the maned wolf. And that's purely used to make the animal look bigger and more threatening, and that can quite often be used to drive off a rival like another maned wolf, or maybe even fend off a predator like a jaguar or a puma. Of course, sunset and around dusk time and midnight are when the maned wolves are most active. They go out looking for fruit, unattended bird or reptile eggs, and even scavenging on carrion, but also using their enormous ears to pounce on unwary rodents in long grass. But there's actually a place in Brazil where you can get very, very close to a maned wolf. It's actually these two here at the monastery of Carassa. Now, just over 20 odd years ago, the monks of Carassa realised that a large predator, was going through their garbage, and they worked out that it was in fact the maned wolf, and they have since then been deliberately putting out food for them. So what they do is they leave a big plate of meat out, and the wolves will quite often pick up the scent of that and come in for a free meal. And then you can get a very close encounter with a maned wolf. I mean, they're more often so preoccupied with feeding that they don't really notice you at all. Of course, maned wolves are endangered, but also very shy and solitary, so it's very, very hard to see them in the wild. But if you go to the monastery of Carassa, you're more likely to see a maned wolf, because that is said to be the best place in the world to see them. In fact, here is their range in South America. That has been my remastering of the 15 animals, well, 15 predators of South America PowerPoint presentation. If you enjoyed this video, then please drop a comment down below, but also do check out my other remastered PowerPoints so far. There are more on the way, so stay tuned for them. Okay, bye.